I'm Aryeh Schwartz, and welcome to the Winsidr Show, where it's all about the W. We did it. We made it to the All-Star break. With the fun and celebrations that are about to begin in Chicago, we want to reflect on the season that has been played so far. So this episode, the Winsidr All-Star Break Reflections. Let's dive right in. Before we get into today's show, just a quick reminder, Winsidr is a fully independent WNBA news site, and everything we do is supported by listeners like you. If you enjoy what we're doing here, you can keep it going by joining us at patreon.com/Winsidr. That's patreon.com/Winsidr. Pricing levels for everyone. You're directly showing support for the work we put into covering the W year round. We also have an amazing team, a full team producing great written coverage over at Winsidr.com. That's Winsidr.com, and more content than ever across TikTok, Instagram, X/Twitter, Blue Sky, and YouTube. If you're in the market for WNBA gear, check out the affiliate links in the show notes and on Winsidr.com. You rep the league, and we get a little support along the way. We're back. I'm back with Madisyn. Madisyn, how you doing? Crazy weekend. How's the air by you these days?
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad like 2 days ago. Then it cleared up a little bit, but I think it might be back to being a little weird. I don't know. Didn't go outside yesterday, so we'll
Love
see.
it. Love it. I respect that. Honestly, with the heat and the what I don't know, they were saying in DC like yesterday, it was if you were outside for 15 minutes, it was the equivalent of smoking like a pack and a half of cigarettes or something. And you don't even get the beauty of feeling cool. Like, no, I'm joking. Don't smoke cigarettes, people. They're bad for you. They kill you. Okay, so back to the W. I mean, what an amazing first half of the season. And if I'm being completely honest, as I was sitting here yesterday, I know it was 2 days ago because yesterday I was completely ignored the fact that we were gonna have to record today. But as I was sitting here the other day and I was thinking about it, and there's so much attention that has been going towards off-court stuff, and we kind of touched on this in the last episode, and I totally understand why. There's a whole lot of craziness going on in the league, whether it's fans doing crazy things to players, whether it's coaches doing crazy things to players, whether it's players doing crazy things to, like, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not trying to downplay any of that. But what I've noticed is that there's been so much attention towards that. There hasn't been that much attention on what's been going on in the league, like actually going on in the basketball. No one's talking about that, Golden State in their second year, like we thought they kind of set the bar high last year. Let's talk about the storyline of Golden State this year. Let's talk about Minnesota. I mean, we go down this list and there are just insane storylines on every single team that I feel like we're almost falling into this trap now that the W has gotten so big and so noteworthy, and there's millions being not handed out, but millions being passed out to players who rightfully deserve those millions, if not more. And I feel like just a little bit for us, we need to talk about what's going on in this league because there's some ridiculous things. I don't know. To you, what do you think? If I know we have like a bunch of stuff listed, but like if you had to pick, I mean, there's the expansion teams, the Minnesota Dominance, Golden State, Indiana, Chicago, New York. Heck, you could even talk about Dallas. Like, what do you think the biggest storyline so far this season is? What has kind of captured your mind, heart, and soul?
Yeah, you already mentioned it. And maybe I'm a little biased because I watched this team probably the most in the league, but I'm gonna have to go with the Valkyries. I mean, yeah, what they're doing is crazy. 9 games in a row, second ranked in the league. I mean, yeah, it's super impressive what Coach Nakase has been able to do. Obviously, the addition of Gabby Williams has taken this team to the next level. But yeah, even so, like their defense, they're locking up the opposing team's best player every single night, which is just like a crazy feat to see. Like I saw a chart the other day, like the difference between the leading scorers point per game during the season versus against the Valkyries, and it's like a huge gap. So yeah, it's
That's wild.
super impressive. And the fact that they're like, above the likes of the Aces, the Wings, the Fever right now, is I think it's super impressive. It's great for the future of the league, and it also is a great story because it shows like what expansion can do, and it shows how much talent is in the league that is like untapped. Like the fact that Veronica Burton, before 2 seasons ago wasn't revered at this level is amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, Veronica Burton was a journeyman. Like I don't even know what the right term is. Like got bounced around to different teams, was seen as okay, maybe like I think at least from my perspective, in her time in Dallas, it was like, okay, you're an elite defender, but can you do more? Is this going to expand into something else? Are you good enough of an elite defender that will earn you a roster spot? Or are you able to like add other aspects to your game to kind of solidify that? And everything she has done from those, again, I think it was Dallas. Maybe I'm wrong and my memory's disturbing me, but like from those moments to where we are now, it's pretty crazy. And you got to love what the Valkyries have done in terms of the building of this roster and not, it would have been very easy for this team to go, okay, last year we had success doing what we did, but we were an expansion team. We had to play this game a certain way. Now that we're kind of established, let's shift what we're doing and take on a more established, typical WNBA team style roster, whatever. And they haven't done that. They've doubled down on what they did. And I believe it was ownership who said they're guaranteeing a championship within 5 years. I was scoffing at that. Granted, I make the same claim. If you were to hire me as the GM, like I have full confidence within 5 years I could win it all. But yeah, just like really, really impressive. And to further what you're saying, we're talking about a 9-game win streak, 9-1 in their last 10. They're 1 game back from Minnesota in first place, and they have a full game lead on third place against Las Vegas. So obviously, biggest storylines. We could also talk about Minnesota's dominance without Nafisa Collier. That's just crazy, wild what they've been able to do. I feel like we've touched on that a lot throughout our episodes because, I'm from Minnesota and they've been the number 1 team. So we naturally, get more attention towards the teams that are doing better because who wants to just like rail on the teams that are struggling? But honestly, like if we're talking about not positive storylines of the season that should be or have been taking the reins, we gotta say New York. New York is sitting at 7th place right now. Who would have thought going into the season adding Satu, I should clarify because but making the additions they made this offseason, the stacked roster they have. Look, there's been legitimate concerns or questions raised on social media in talking circles about you moved on from Sandy for this. I saw this crazy detailed rant about how Jonathan Kolb needs to be the head that rolls for this. I think I would push back a little bit on that. I focus more on the coaching necessarily than the GM because you look at this roster and how good it is. And it's kind of the coach's job to take that roster and, juice the fruit. I don't know what the proper term is, to get the best out of the players that are on the roster. And then, I mean, we could also look at LA. We could look at Chicago, 2 teams that went all in and are sitting outside of the playoffs as we sit. And of course, the Phoenix Mercury sitting at 8-18 on a 5-game lose streak in 13th place out of 15. Just shocking when they were just in the finals. I guess for you, when you look at LA, Chicago, and Phoenix and New York, which one stands out like as the biggest storyline, obviously in a negative way, that has like surprised you, I guess, or kind of, it's hard because I think like, I don't know about you and feel free to correct me on this, but when sometimes I look at things and I'm like, okay, this is where I thought was going to happen, but like, I'm not shocked to see this. Or like, where's your mind on those situations?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how I feel about Chicago, just because, like, first of all, I mean, yeah, it's been happening for a while. I do think, and then obviously, like with Rakia being out, like I don't think that that's definitely not the only issue, but like I'll give them that. Like that can be the cop out, I guess. With the Mercury, yeah, it definitely is shocking. I guess you could say like they lost Satu. But I mean, yeah, to drop from being in the finals to this when you basically have the same team is really shocking. I would say for me the 2 most shocking ones would be the Sparks and the Liberty. Um, Especially with Well, especially the Liberty with the start of this season, because last season wasn't that great for the Liberty as well. But with the start of this season, they started off. I remember our first episode, like we did the hot or not, and I was very like the Liberty are hot for sure. Um, it's just not been the case. Yeah, I think obviously again can use the injury excuse, but they still have now they have Sabrina back, they have Brianna Stewart, they have Jonquel Jones. There really isn't a reason why they should be playing like this. Like even with the injuries that they do have, and even when they did have some of those players on the court, it still wasn't looking great. So yeah, I'd probably say the Liberty. Um, I don't know. Yeah, and it's just like it just there's just something just feels off. Like all the quotes coming out are the same, kind of like we need to play with more effort. We need like we need more chemistry. But it's like okay, but in the meantime, before those people come back, what are you gonna do in the meantime? You can't just lose until Satu comes back. And also like the effort is just like I mean, you just have to try. Like even that, like you can't coach that part, but there are a lot of things that also can be coached better.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, and I've brought this up so many times. These quotes that I'm seeing from New York remind me so much of Vegas last year, so much of the Chicago Sky when they won their championship that one year. But the thing that I'll say is like I'm using those as the positive references because we know how talented this roster is. I mean, I could scream this from the rooftops and it like I won't be tired of saying it. This team is too talented. You touched on this. I'm not like effort or coaching or whatever the excuse, whatever the reason, whatever it is. This roster is too talented to basically be sitting at 500. They're 13 and 12. They're in 7th place. You have Brianna Stewart, who, if you were sitting in a top 3 spot, would be in the MVP discussion. She's totally carried this team. For me, as I have spent the last like 3 days looking at this New York Liberty team, watching old games, watching the recent game, I think it was last night or 2 nights ago or whatever. And it's just, I started to kind of go back and go, okay, let's look at the roster construction. And I'm sorry I'm going into New York too much here, but I was like, okay, let's look at this. Like when this roster was built, it felt like it was built to be a super team. And then it quickly felt like it was kind of, I don't want to say devolved, but devolved to built around Brianna Stewart. Originally, this was not a team that was built around Brianna Stewart. At least my perspective. Maybe Cole will tell me I'm crazy and wrong. Someone up, please. And it slowly felt like when reality set in of how this roster was playing, what they were doing, what the problems were, it became a team that was built around Brianna Stewart. So if you've become a team that's built around Brianna Stewart, then I start to look at teams that had success with Brianna Stewart, and it feels like, and we've touched on this, they're not fitting JJ into those roles specifically properly. A little bit of like not enough Crystal Langhorn and not enough Natasha Howard. Like a bad combination of those two, reference to when Stewie won in Seattle. And then you don't have, you have a Sabrina and you have players who can fill that Jewel Lloyd and Alicia Clark role, but not the Sue Bird role. And so you start to have these struggles. And then I start to wonder, does the super team work? But then at the end of the day, it's a super team. They have so many freaking good players. They'll be back at some point. I don't know. And so that's why it's hard. Cause it's like, I don't want to sit here. Let me be transparent. I want to sit here on the pod and be like, I'm ready to call it for New York. They're sitting at 7th place. They very easily could, run it up and jump to a top 3 team by playoff time. That said, and I don't want to be clipped saying this, but like that said, like right now I'm sitting here, I'm like, this New York team looks like a team that's going to be a bubble playoff team and a first round exit in my take. And like really disappointing. All right. Sorry. That was far too long. Okay. Let's go move on to players, because as we came into the season, I'm curious, is there any players who have changed your mind, kind of surprised you? You were too high on coming into the season, too low on coming out of the season, just based on like, and I'll give a couple to ease you so you have a chance to think about it. Player that I have historically been too low on, that I want to give some love to, is Aaliyah Boston.
Okay.
Aaliyah Boston, I have historically been very low on. I think she's a great player, but I haven't seen her jump into that conversation of being one of the top 10 bigs in the league. I would even make the top 15 argument in the league. People would get mad at me. Fine, whatever. My eyes are opened. what I'm seeing from this team, from Aaliyah specifically, is really impressive. What I see her doing against top opponents is really impressive. And I have personally been wooed. And then on the other side, on the bad side, it's Ariel Atkins, on a player who I have high expectations for, a high admiration for her game. You look at her career, what she's been able to do, and then you look at this season, and it's like, 13 points per game average on the career. She's dropping down to 8.9. Essentially every stat of hers has dropped. Rebounds per game, assists have stayed average, steals are right around the same. Turnovers have gone up a little bit. Shooting percentage is down in some really bad ways. I mean, she's shooting sub 30 from three. She's shooting 35% from the field. Still 96 from the free throw line. But Atkins is the player that I'm looking at that I'm like, okay, I'm disappointed that you're not living up to my expectations for you. When you think about like too high, too low, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I think the player that I was a little too low on starting the season was AZ Fudd. I was never that low on her. Like, she was number one seed. Obviously, she was a great in college. I expected great things from her. But I think I mean, obviously, I think the beginning of the year with her not starting kind of, I think a lot of people, probably me included, were a bit reactionary to that. But I also just, like, in general, the level of her defense has been amazing, and I didn't really expect her to be that high up. So yeah, it's not really like I was ever low on her per se, but I do think she is exceeding my expectations by a decent amount. Um, yeah, and then I would say too high on. I mean, not to get back on the Liberty, and I hate to say this, but I think Maureen Johannes just a little bit. I think at the beginning of the season, I thought that she was like a legitimate sixth player of the year candidate. She was playing very well. And obviously that was bound to change with Sabrina coming back and all those things. But I think, and this also just boils down to lineups. Like, it's not even particularly her fault completely, but I mean, the defensive impact she's had on the floor has not been great. And then also when the Liberty run lineups with her and Sabrina and Pauline, or whatever combination of the guards, sometimes I just feel like, I think maybe the role that she's playing hasn't adapted to Sabrina coming back, because sometimes, like, she's playing as if she's the main guard on the floor when you're not, right? Like, it's Sabrina, it's basically Sabrina's team. Well, it's Stewie's team, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think just the Liberty still have to figure out the roles and the chemistry as they've been saying. So I would say probably MJ, but I still think she's great, obviously. Oh, you're muted.
Oops. She's a player that I constantly am sitting there and I'm going, okay, makes the highlight reel play, opens the eyes, fans fall in love. But when you start to study it a little bit deeper, she's a role player and she has to fit that role properly. So yeah, just my take on it. Some other players that I think fair to say maybe universally too high on coming into the season. Alana Smith really struggled. Yes, there's been injuries, but has struggled mightily. Aryeh, another player who numbers have dropped. Some could say that's a good thing that she's not, that lead player, that star player, that success. I would say we should expand on that, do a whole episode on Dallas and maybe why they should be searching for a pre-trade deadline move, because I don't think she is needed for the success of this team from what we're seeing so far. Just my take. Jewel Lloyd, another player who I think of recent, maybe we've grown to accept that we were a little bit too high on her. Of recent play, career accomplishments, historically great player. We're talking about right now going into the season has not lived up to it. We could say Kennedy Carter too if you want, but for other reasons. And then players maybe people were a little bit too low on. K-Mac she's on like a 6-7 game heater where she scored 20 plus. Only had one other moment in her career where she had 3 games of 20 plus in a row. Jessica Shepard, obviously some love for Veronica Burton. We touched on her earlier. And a player who statistically, I would say maybe percentage-wise isn't doing the growth that I would like to see. But just from the eye test, I'm seeing it. It's amazing. Yes, the team has struggled Yes, the team needs to be doing better. They're sitting at 6th place, but on the Atlanta Dream, Angel Reese has truly, really been impressing me in her growth as a player. Just in the little things that she does, I've seen a lot better. Real quick, I want you, we kind of already touched on this, so I'm going to do this real quick, but then we're going to be looking forward to the second half. Teams that have disappointed us so far, I think we can both say New York. No question. The LA Sparks, I think we can agree with that. No question. The Mercury, I think we can agree on that. No question. I'm going to say the Atlanta Dream. Do you agree with that or not? I feel like maybe it's a recency bias. They're sitting here at 15-10, not horrible. 2-game win streak, 4-6 in the last 10. But it just feels like dropping down to 6th place. And even though they're at 6, it hasn't felt, for me at least, as confident as I expected them to be at this point of the season. What do you think?
No, yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely expected them like at this point to be in that, 3-4 range. And yeah, what was it? A 5-game losing streak? That was pretty rough, especially the teams that they did lose to, like Portland, all like yeah, it has been rough. I obviously still think like they have a lot of time to get it together come playoff time, but they definitely are like underachieving by what I expected at this point in the season.
And then teams impressing me so far, I feel like it's pretty easy to say this. Minnesota, Golden State and Minnesota, like different reasons, whatever, just super, super impressive. And I got to give some love to the Dallas Wings. Really impressive. They're sitting here at 4th place and kind of under the radar, I feel like, for having so much superstars, extremely under the radar. Probably a great thing for this team that I'm just going to say it. If I'm this team, I don't want all the attention right now. I
Mhm.
want to kind of be under the radar, ease into the playoffs, and then really be poised for greatness. All right. And last thing, looking at the second half, teams poised for success. Is there any team in your mind that is poised for success for the second half of the season? I'll go first, and I will say the Fever and Minnesota, I think, are poised. Minnesota obviously getting feedback. I don't think that's going to be a huge, issue for them. And then the Fever, I think they're starting to get things that they're finding a flow. They're getting a rhythm. And so I'm excited to see kind of if they can keep the outside noise outside, what they can do in the second half. What about you?
Yeah, first of all, definitely agree with Minnesota. Like, obviously, getting feedback is going to be insane for this team. Can't wait to watch that. And I also think on a similar note, I think the Dream with Bree Jones being back have the same potential to make a big jump.
Great
Like
call.
we've been talking about the whole season. Like this team has been good, but we still need to see like we haven't seen their best yet, partially because Bree Jones has been out. So I think that will be great to see. And yeah, I think after the All-Star break they'll be fueled by kind of this being lower than expected and can make a run to be better or to be where they were supposed to be by this point in the season.
What team? I'll pick one. You pick one. What team has an uphill climb or is doomed for the second half of the season? I'm gonna say for doomed Phoenix. I just think we're sitting here at 8-18. They have not gotten anything together. They have not figured out anything. I'm not even looking at the schedule above. I'm not looking at it just feels like this season is doomed. And as each game goes by, things are only going to get worse.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I would probably say the Sky for similar reasons. I think, yeah, like even if they were doing badly, but they had Rakia, that would be a bright spot, right? Like that's how I feel about the Storm. Like the Storm are the last team in the league, but no one was expecting them to be good, and they're still going toe to toe with some of the best teams in the league, right? The Sky is just like I don't know. First of all, like with the drama in the locker room, like and the facilities, like the outside noise is also not great coming out of Chicago, which doesn't bode well for their play as well. And like you said, they went all in, gave away a bunch of young assets like for the future for this season. And this season isn't going anywhere. So it's like, what do we do now? Right? Like it's rough to watch.
Yeah, and honestly, I just want to. We don't do this in the show, but shame to LA and Chicago. Like shame you both because I and this won't even be a rant. Going into the season, they both made it very clear that they were all in, and this isn't the first time they've done this, but that they were all in to win it this year. And I don't think there is a single person outside of the people who are drinking the Kool-Aid in the facilities who actually believe that either of these teams are within a slingshot's distance of winning it all. None of them were sitting in a position, and I understand like anything can happen and blah blah blah. None of us thought that was going to happen. I thought it was pretty clear. And all of them have given up on so much amazing young talent that we're seeing really put a mark on this league this season, last season, and likely next season or the season after. So shame you both. To close out this episode, I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening and supporting independent WNBA coverage. Winsidr and many other outlets have been doing this for a long time, and it only works because of the community. So support your local WNBA news outlets. And thank you. We'll be back next week.